This is the Tom Bigby Tales, and I'm your host, Shannon Evans. I write about a small town in northeast Mississippi on the Tom Bigby River called Columbus. Sometimes I write about the rest of the state. Today's is episode 11 in the Heritage Academy, where some are more equal than others. I wasn't planning to write a podcast for today on this topic. I actually had a totally different podcast written. However, I had an interesting conversation with someone at a local business today, and I thought it was really important considering some of the news that has recently come out of Heritage Academy or some of their Facebook posts. So, with that in mind, let's start on episode 11. In an earlier episode, I stated it was alleged that the former cheer sponsor for Heritage, Nicole Rutherford, was alleged to have embezzled money from her employer. I have now had it confirmed by a female in a position of leadership in the local landscaping company that once employed Rutherford that she embezzled well over $100,000 from their company, and they fired her as a direct result. Rutherford caused significant financial damage to the company and its employees. Further, to cover her theft of 2 to 3 times weekly theft of repeated non-taxable large amounts of quote reimbursement checks to herself, her Rutherford was forced to find some other source to cover payroll in her position. She essentially was robbing Peter to pay Paul to cover her tracks. But by the time that was figured out, Nicole was fired. Her parents paid for the initial embezzlement amounts of checks written to herself for reimbursements to the tune of $600 several times a week. So, why does this matter to Heritage Academy? At the time, Rutherford was stealing from her employer, and on the day she was fired, she was interviewing for a bookkeeping business office position at the school. Fortunately, the school was made aware of her employment issues, and the school then allegedly had her resign as cheer sponsor. And I have it on good authority that they found money that was being raised for new cheer mats had allegedly gone AWOL from the accounts that Rutherford managed. Yet the school refused to allow the new cheer sponsor to do an audit of the books. Again, allegedly. Again, though, why does this matter? As this was 2 years ago. Because Nicole Rutherford is handling money at the school again for the cheerleaders. Every year, the cheer team sells greenery, wreaths, and other Christmas decorations to raise money to offset the individual members' cheer expenses. For example, if little Susie has to raise $1,500 for cheer camp for her expenses, she has to sell enough Christmas greenery to generate that amount of profit to cover her expenses. Or if she doesn't meet her goal, then the amount of profit she does generate goes toward reducing her bill, and someone, her mother, her father, her family, herself, has to make up the difference later. And yes, cheer bills are that much and more per student. This year, the cheer team has gotten extra greenery. It is a cheer team of 46 cheerleaders. Not sure why a school of 180 students has 46 cheerleaders. However, I digress. This cheer team has gotten extra greenery this year, and it's currently for sale at the school. Now, remember in the first episode of this expose that the school went cashless and card only because the former AD for the boys allegedly was dipping into Booster Club money and ticket take at the door. To prevent any future theft, they went completely cashless and made a big to-do of this new system. Yet today, a certain Nicole Rutherford, a known embezzler, is announced to the whole world at large as overseeing the greenery sale. And in her, quote, selflessness as the greenery sales committee lead, will happily take checks or cash for purchases of the extra greenery they have either overordered or ordered in anticipation of something, something, something. Now, let's examine the foolhardiness of such an event. One, who is doing the accounting that the money gets credited to each girl accordingly and the overage is equitably distributed? Nicole? Two, Who is accounting for the actual money that comes in and how much the profit is and how is that maintained? Is this an account she has access to? Is she the only one with access to it? Who has oversight on the cash that is collected and how it is audited for accuracy and transparency? 3, who is paying for the greenery company bill and how is that managed? The headmaster, head of schools, Sean Harrison, is well aware that Rutherford lost her previous job for embezzlement of over $100,000. So why on earth would he, as the administrator for the school, allow her any access to fundraising money for the students of the school? How does he benefit from this? Is this a matter of quid pro quo related to his personal convoluted relationship with the Rutherford Mitchell family? Again, what administrator worth his salt would allow a known embezzler, and yes, Coach Mo, she is, it isn't slander when it is the truth. When a known embezzler is allowed to oversee a single dime that is connected to Heritage Academy, especially money for the kids. What hold does the Rutherford Mitchell family have on the head of school, Sean Harrison, that this is allowed? Which leads us to another Rutherford Mitchell related question. On Wednesday, the upper and lower school created a t-shirt with hashtag HA Strong in response to this podcast exposing the issues with the school. The hashtag is based on a response to a parent who fabricated a complete lie online to solicit sympathy from other parents online. Essentially, she outed her daughter as being, quote, betrayed, that I was talking about her as being the student I texted who was being bullied by another student. Nicole and this mother started responding to each other HA Strong for her daughter. I had to laugh. It wasn't her daughter. Her daughter wasn't even in the class with the student who was being bullied. Their entire t-shirt campaign is based on a lie from a mom cycle online. And why is this super volunteer, benefactor of the school and mother of Nicole Rutherford, Dawn Mitchell, in the school photos with those t-shirts and no other volunteer appears to be included? If this is a faculty and staff photo, why is she included? Did she pay for the t-shirts? Why is she wearing a lanyard like the other employees? Does she have a school badge like the teachers, or did she pick it up on her way in the building? Usually volunteers get a sticky name tag. It's just a label. Like when you go to something that's like, hello, my name is. Why is Mitchell accorded special treatment at the school? Are all donors and volunteers treated to t-shirts and access to IDs on lanyards and photos with the faculty and staff? You know, this would all be hilarious if it didn't exemplify how hard the school is working to cover up bad behaviors and attack the messenger, yet never once address the bad actors within their own walls and their bad behaviors. Instead, the school and the people in there have doubled down and encouraged each other to continue behaving badly. There is a particular group of adults in the heritage community who make everything about themselves because they want everything to be about them. They clearly have no depth, no faith, and not a single thought about the betterment of the lives of the children in that school. Everything is about them because without that, there is a deep gaping hole in their own existence. They are losing their minds over the fact that the evil within is being exposed. And they like that evil and prefer to keep it firmly in place and hidden by the thin curtains and veils they keep erecting. They like nothing more than being petty tyrants and being in the company of thieves. They will happily lie to themselves year after year and accuse me of ruining the school's reputation, when in reality, their behavior is destroying the school's reputation. I am not the one whose headmaster is nothing more than a football coach, who has allegations of adultery, embezzlement, and professional impropriety by your former principal and men's athletic director, an elementary school teacher, coach with a domestic violence record on his record, and a slew of teachers who are underqualified and highly qualified teachers who are underpaid. I am not the one who has $5 million in the bank, yet keeps raising tuition on parents, giving insignificant, if any, raise to teachers, and telling alumni you need to raise another $60,000 to create an outdoor dining pavilion. I've showed you where to look for the information in public records. If I am incorrect, use that and prove me wrong. Again, it isn't slander when it's the truth. The leadership needs to quit navel gazing and do some serious self examination. It's time Heritage Academy Board of Trustees and parents have a hard look behind the curtains and clean up their Heritage Academy house. I want to thank you for coming on my podcast. Until next time.